Hi everybody, Coach Keith here, and today we're going to be talking about RPE, rate of perceived exertion, and how I use it to manage fatigue. So, why do we care about fatigue management? Why don't we just go into the gym and train 100% all out, brother? Every single time? Well, guys, let's get started and find out. Guys, we're about to look at some science here. But stay with me, I promise we can do it. So, what's the number one thing we want to do in the gym? We want to cause an adaptation. So, we want to give our body a signal that tells it to build muscle or increase our cardiovascular system or get stronger, etc. So, how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to increase the difficulty each week, meaning that each week has to be harder than the last week in some way. So we're either going to have to increase the weight on the bar, or the number of sets, or the number of reps in each set. As we increase the weight, what's going to happen? Well, the difficulty, or the RPE, is going to increase. What else is going to increase? Our fatigue is going to increase. So, if we were to just say, come in and train all out 100% as hard as we could in week 1, what the heck are we going to do in week 2? Because there's no way that your body built muscle in the 7 days between when you did the first workout and when you did the second workout. So, what do we need to do? Well, we need to understand that our body can build muscle, it can build adaptations through a range of difficulty levels. And that is where RPE comes in. RPE is the scale of difficulty that we're going to use. So basically, we want to start at the bottom of the scale. We want to start with the least amount of training that we can use to send a signal to our body to make an adaptation. And that way, we can have the most number of weeks where we can increase that fatigue. Then once we get to the top, we get to as absolute the most fatigue that our body can handle, then we're going to have to take either days off from the gym or train very light for a period of time until our fatigue comes back down and we can start training hard again. The old method of programming was percentage based. So basically, you would come in and let's say you lifted 100 pounds. Week 1, they'd say lift 70. And then week 2, you'd lift 75 and so on, and your progress would be linear. But we know that humans can't actually make progress like that, because if we could add 5 pounds to every workout, each week we came in, you'd have guys that would be bench pressing 20,000 pounds. So we know people don't actually make progress like that. They make progress like this, where we start at the bottom, we increase our difficulty level until our fatigue is at maximum, then we take days off, and then we can start training again. So that's how we're going to use RPE. We're going to use it to control this scale, how fast we increase our difficulty level. All right, guys, so what is RPE and exactly how do we determine it? Now, RPE is the scary math stuff on the board behind me. It's going to be a scale from 1 through 10. RPE 10 is failure. So it doesn't matter what number of reps you're doing in a set. If you're at RPE 10, and you're doing a set of 20, that would be a max set of 20. If you're doing a set of 10, that's a max set of 10, meaning you cannot get an 11th rep. So a way to think of RPE is how many reps you should have left in the tank at the end of your set. Or you can think of it as reps before failure. So to determine that, we take 10, we're going to subtract the RPE. So let's say we had an RPE of 7. So we're going to take 10, we're going to subtract 7. So that gives us 3. So we know that we're going to do a set that we have 3 reps left in the tank. So let's say I'm doing a set of 10 at RPE 7. So that means that I'm going to do 10 reps. But for me, failure would actually be at 13. That's how you're going to pick the weight. So you're going to pick a weight based on how many reps you're going to have left in the tank. So I'm going to pick a weight that I can do 13 reps with at absolute failure, but I'm going to stop at 10 reps. That's how we're going to use RPE to control fatigue. Because as I said previously, we can build muscle and adaptation through a range of difficulties. So we don't want to just go right to RPE 10. Because if we go right to failure on week 1, then we're not going to have enough time for our body to make an adaptation, to build muscle, to improve, so that way we can put more weight on the bar. In this example, we're going to be using this incline press machine. We're going to be doing 3 working sets of 10 at an RPE of 7. So we know that if we're at an RPE of 7, we're going to take 7 from 10, and we know we want to be 3 reps away from failure on each of our working sets. Now, we're not going to count any of our warm-up sets. So anything that's below an RPE of 5, meaning that we're further away from failure than 5, we could do another 6 reps or another 8 or another 10 reps. That's not going to be close enough to failure to cause any muscle growth. So any set that's further away from failure than 5 reps, we're not going to count. Now, I'll show you 2 warm-up sets that I'm going to use to find my RPE, and then I'm going to show you 3 working sets at RPE 7. This first set, I have a plate on there. I'm going to do 10 reps and see how far away from failure I am. Okay, now that would be way too light for me. I could probably do about 20 more reps there. So we're not even close to failure yet. So I'll put another plate on and we'll check the next RPE. Okay guys, second set of 10 is done. I'm probably 6 or 8 reps away from failure. So I only want to be 3 reps away from failure. So I'll add another weight and we'll get started on our third set. Before I start this third set, a quick note on RPE. We don't start counting the sets until we actually find our RPE or pretty close to it. So if you're, like my first set, I was 20 reps away from failure, we just write that off as a warm-up set. Same thing, when I went to the second plate, the second set, I was still 6 or 8 reps away from failure. That's way too far away from failure to cause any muscle growth. So unless you are at least within 5 reps of failure, don't count that as one of your working sets. So whenever I write a program, there's going to be a specific number of sets for that week. So let's say that it was 3 sets of 10. You wouldn't count the first or second set of this because there's no way that I'm close enough to failure to actually cause any muscle growth. So now that we have an additional weight on here, I'm probably going to be closer than 5 reps to failure. So I'll do this third set and we'll see what RPE that is. So my third set is done. I'd say I'm about 4 reps away from failure. Now we know that our target was 3 reps away from failure. So I'm still gonna have to add a little bit more weight, but 4 reps away from failure is close enough that we could count that as a working set. So RPE is not gonna be perfect. Like me, you might put on a little bit lighter weight than what you needed, or you might put on a little bit heavier weight. If you put on a little bit heavier weight, just take some weight off for the next set. And like me, if you put on too light of a weight, just put a little bit of weight on. So I'll add a little bit of weight and we'll do the second working set. Now, that's my second working set, and I'd say that that weight was just about perfect. I probably could have done 3 more reps before failure, and that's exactly what we're looking for at RPE 7. So, as we've talked about, it doesn't matter what the number of reps that you're doing is. RPE is only telling us how many more we should be able to do. So whatever weight you pick, you're just gonna take that RPE number that we find by subtracting from 10 and add that to your set. So in my case, I'm doing a set of 10. So at RPE 7, that means I need to be 3 reps away from failure. So basically, I'm picking a weight where if I went as hard as I could get 13 reps. But I'm stopping at 10 reps, 3 reps away from failure. All right, guys, so here's the last of the working sets. Now, on the first working set, we had 2 plates and a quarter on. And that was about 4 reps away from failure. We added another smaller plate, another 10, and then we ended up being 3 reps away from failure. So those 2 sets where we were 4 reps away from failure and 3 reps away from failure, we can count as working sets. So now we'll just leave the same weight on and do our last of our 3 working sets. Guys, hopefully this put everything together for you and now you understand RPE. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Leave your questions in the comments section below. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and a share. Check out AmericanIronTraining.com for workout programs and apparel. I appreciate everybody's support. Thanks for watching.